Hi, my name is Rob. I would like to talk to you today about underground as well as above ground tanks. You've been living in your home in Connecticut or New York for years. Your home used to be set up to burn heating oil for your heating system, or it might still be burning heating oil. For many homes, the times have changed and houses have been updated to another form of heating. But somewhere out in your yard is an underground heating oil tank. Tanks underground always have oil left in them. Now the interesting thing is this: what happens to metal tanks that are left buried under the earth? You've got it. They start to rust. Not only do they rust on the outside, but they also rust from the inside out. The reason for this is that condensation forms on the inside of the tank. Oil is lighter than water, so the oil floats on the top of the water. Now this means that if there is going to be rusting, it will more than likely occur on the bottom of the tank. So here we are with a tank on our property that is rusting, and at some point there is a likelihood that this tank will rust away enough to cause a leak. Once the tank begins to leak, then you have oil seeping into the ground and contaminating the soil. It is possible that the oil could leach into the groundwater table. Not good. What do you as a homeowner do? You may have purchased your property 20 years ago, and you have no idea if there's an underground heating oil tank on your property. Think about this. The longer that a tank leaks, the more saturated that the soil surrounding the tank becomes. The leaching of the oil into the soil over years will spread. Some signs of a leaking tank might be the smell of petroleum in your house. Or when it rains, you see rainbow colors on standing water or puddles of water. Keep in mind that the cause isn't always a leaking tank. It could be something as simple as leaking fittings or accidentally broken lines that feed your tank. Now consider that you have decided to sell your property. The new buyer is ready to purchase your home, but his or her bank states that first they must have the property tested for an underground heating oil tank. The bank does this because they know that the house will not be able to be insured if there's an old tank on the property. They know that if the buyer moves into their new home and then discovers that oil has seeped into the soil, this will now cost a huge amount of money to remediate the toxic soil. To prevent this type of loss, the banks and insurance companies want to have properties tested for old tanks or do an inspection for newer heating oil tanks. They want to minimize their possibility of a loss, and it's very understandable. The cost for removing the toxic soil from around a tank that has leaked for a long time is related to the amount of the contaminated area. The longer that one waits to remove a leaking tank, the higher the cost due to a continuation of oil leaking and leaching into the surrounding soil. Therefore, it is highly recommended that one has their property checked for tanks. Envirotech of Fairfield County, Inc. specializes in underground storage tank locating, oil tank removal, and decommissioning services. For over 20 years, they have been testing, removing, and installing tanks. They have top-of-the-line equipment for finding buried tanks, removing them, and testing the soil around the tank for contamination. Underground storage tank locating services are conducted with the utilization of a Fisher Model TW6 locator. This method is a non-invasive method which detects large metallic objects beneath the Earth's surface. They will be able to find your underground oil tank. Underground storage tank soil sampling is conducted with their top-of-the-line geoprobe. This method enables them to collect a soil sample along the sides of the tank while the tank remains in place. Underground storage tank decommissioning is offered for a free on-site estimate to determine the scope of the work necessary to remove your oil tank. Most homeowners have no idea if they have a tank on their property. But can you see the risk if you do and don't do anything? The longer that it is in the ground, the higher the cost will be to remove it. Envirotech of Fairfield County, Inc. not only works with residential, but they also work with commercial businesses. Many businesses have above-ground tanks that may have leaked over the years. They work with gas stations, schools, factories, and so on. Envirotech will take soil samples and have them tested for extracted total petroleum hydrocarbons. These samples will be tested by a Connecticut certified laboratory, and if the soil sample display contamination over 500 parts per million, the responsible parties should notify the Department of Environmental Protection as required by law. Envirotech will put your property back to its natural state. They will fill the void where the tank was located with clean soil. They replant and leave your property as if nothing had ever happened. They are licensed and have referrals. If you have any questions or would like to have your property tested, please give them a call and they will answer all of your questions. Envirotech of Fairfield County, Inc. 1-203-748-3111. That's 1-203-748-3111.